We are going to be looking at verse 27 from the Bhaja Govindam.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it's a classic text in Vedanta philosophy.
Yes.
And we're going to be exploring its interpretation by Adi Shankaracharya.
One of the greats.
Yeah, a renowned scholar and spiritual leader.
It's fascinating how these ancient texts can still speak to us today, Shankaracharya's commentary on this verse is like a roadmap to self-discovery. It guides us toward liberation from suffering.
A roadmap, huh? That sounds promising, especially in today's world where it feels like everyone's searching for, that happiness and fulfillment.
Yeah.
So what does this roadmap look like? What's the starting point?
Well, verse 27 starts by highlighting the obstacles that we face on this journey.
Okay.
It talks about abandoning desire, anger, greed, and delusion.
Right.
Which Shankaracharya identifies as the root causes of our suffering.
Okay, those are some pretty heavy hitters. But honestly, who hasn't struggled with at least one of those? Are we supposed to just become like emotionless robots to achieve liberation?
Right, that's a great question. It's not about suppressing emotions, though.
Okay.
It's about understanding their nature and not letting them control us.
Okay.
Shankaracharya uses this analogy of a distorted lens. You see these four afflictions, desire, anger, greed, and delusion. They're like smudges on the lens of our perception,
Right.
preventing us from seeing reality clearly.
I like that analogy. So it's like if I'm constantly, craving the latest gadget,
Yes.
that's desire clouding my judgment. Or if I fly off the handle when someone cuts me off in traffic, that's anger distorting my perception of the situation.
Exactly. And these distortions arise from a fundamental illusion. The belief that we are separate from everything and everyone else.
Right.
We get so caught up in our own little worlds that we forget our interconnectedness with the whole.
So if we can clean those smudges off our lens, we can start to see things more clearly.
Yeah.
But how do we actually do that? It's one thing to recognize these afflictions,
Right.
but it's another to actually break free from their grip.
Absolutely. That's where the real work begins.
Okay.
Verse 27 goes on to say, "One who abandons desire, anger, greed, and delusion sees the true self and realizes, I am that."
Okay.
This is where the idea of I am that comes in.
This is where I get a little lost.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? I am that.
It's about realizing that our true self, the Atman, is not separate from Brahman, the ultimate reality. It's the recognition that we are not just these isolated egos, but expressions of the same universal consciousness that permeates everything.
Okay, that's a pretty mind-blowing concept. So we're all connected to this larger cosmic soup. But what about those of us who haven't had that aha moment yet? The verse mentions a hidden hell of ignorance.
Right.
That sounds a bit scary.
Yeah, it does. The hidden hell isn't a literal place, though. It's more like a state of suffering that arises from not knowing our true nature.
So are we all living in this hidden hell without even knowing it?
In a way, yes. It's the suffering we create for ourselves by clinging to our limited ego identities and chasing after fleeting pleasures. We become slaves to our desires, trapped in cycles of anger and resentment, craving things we don't need, and ultimately feeling a sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction.
Yeah. Sounds like this hidden hell is less about fire and brimstone, and more about the mental and emotional anguish we experience when we're disconnected from our true selves.
Absolutely.
But the verse also hints at a way out of this predicament, right?
Absolutely. Verse 27 points us toward two key tools for liberation.
Okay.
Jnana and Viraja.
Yeah.
Jnana refers to knowledge, specifically the knowledge of the self or Atman.
Right.
It's about going beyond the surface level of our everyday experiences and understanding our true nature.
So it's not just about book smarts or intellectual understanding. It's a deeper, more experiential kind of knowing.
Precisely. Jnana is about recognizing that spark of divinity within the Atman, which is one with the universal consciousness, or Brahman.
Right.
It's about shifting our identity from the limited ego to the boundless self.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And what about Vairagya? How does that factor into the equation?
Vairagya is often translated as dispassion or detachment. But it's not about becoming indifferent or suppressing our emotions.
Okay.
It's about loosening the grip of those four afflictions, desire, anger, greed, and delusion.
Right.
And cultivating a sense of inner freedom from their control.
So it's like we're still experiencing the waves of life, but we're not being tossed around by them. We're learning to ride the waves with more skill and grace.
That's a great way to put it. Vairagya allows us to experience the world without clinging to it with the same intensity.
Yeah.
We begin to understand that true happiness and fulfillment cannot be found in external things,
Right.
but rather in the realization of our true nature.
This all sounds very profound, but also incredibly challenging. How do we actually cultivate these qualities of jhana and viraja in our daily lives? Is there a specific path we can follow?
Well, Shankaracharya emphasized the importance of guidance from a realized teacher or guru on this path. A guru can help us navigate the complexities of self-inquiry and provide personalized guidance based on our unique needs and challenges.
So it's like having a seasoned guide leading us through unfamiliar terrain. Someone who's already walked the path and can help us avoid potential pitfalls.
Exactly. And in addition to guidance from a guru, there are many practices that can support our journey towards self-realization.
Like what? I'm sure our listeners would love to hear some practical tips.
Well, meditation is a powerful tool for cultivating both jhana and viraja.
Okay.
By quieting the mind and turning our attention inward, we can start to glimpse our true nature beyond the constant chatter of thoughts and emotions.
Meditation can seem a bit intimidating, especially for beginners. Any advice on how to get started?
Start small. Even just 5 or 10 minutes a day can make a difference.
Okay.
There are many different techniques, so experiment and find one that resonates with you.
Right.
The key is consistency and approaching the practice with an open mind and a willingness to be present with whatever arises.
That's helpful advice. So meditation is one tool in our toolkit. What else can we do to cultivate jnana and viraja?
Self-inquiry is another crucial practice.
Okay.
This involves questioning our assumptions and beliefs about ourselves and the world. It's about peeling back the layers of conditioning and exploring the fundamental questions of existence. Who am I? What is the nature of reality? What is the purpose of life?
Those are some big questions. But it sounds like self-inquiry isn't so much about finding definitive answers
Right.
as it is about the process of questioning itself.
Exactly. It's about cultivating a discerning mind that can see through illusion and perceive truth directly. It's a process of stripping away false identities and discovering our true essence.
This makes me think about all the roles we play in life. Parent, child, employee, friend. Are those roles part of who we are, or are they just masks we wear?
That's a great question to ponder. Self-inquiry invites us to explore these roles and to discern the difference between the mask and the wearer, the role, and the true self that plays the role.
It's like we're peeling back the layers of an onion, revealing the true essence at the core.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And as we peel back these layers, we may discover that our true self is far more vast and luminous than we ever imagined.
Wow. It's amazing to think that beneath all these layers, there's this radiant self just waiting to be discovered.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder why we spend so much time identifying with those outer layers in the first place.
It's the illusion of separation that we were talking about earlier.
Right.
We forget our true nature and we get so caught up in the world of appearances,
Yeah.
chasing after external validation and fleeting pleasures.
Right, but we've been exploring some powerful tools to help us break free from that illusion. We've talked about the importance of jnana and viraja, and how practices like meditation and self-inquiry can help us cultivate these qualities.
Right.
It sounds like a lifelong journey of self-discovery.
It is. And like any journey, there will be challenges along the way.
Yeah.
There will be times when we fall back into old patterns,
Right.
when those smudges on our lens reappear.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Right.
The key is to keep practicing, to keep returning to those tools that help us clear our vision and remember our true nature.
So it's not about being perfect, but about being persistent.
Exactly. It's about cultivating a spirit of self-compassion and recognizing that this is a process of unfolding, not a destination to be reached.
That's reassuring.
Yeah.
Takes pressure off. But even with all these incredible insights, it's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life
Right.
and lose sight of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
So how do we integrate these teachings into our everyday lives? How do we keep them alive and relevant amidst the daily grind?
One powerful practice is to cultivate mindfulness throughout the day. This means paying attention to our thoughts, feelings, and actions without judgment. It's about noticing when we're caught in those patterns of desire, anger, greed, or delusion,
Right.
and gently redirecting our attention back to the present moment.
So it's like hitting the pause button before reacting impulsively.
Yes.
Giving ourselves a moment to choose a more skillful response.
Precisely. And remember, even if we slip up,
Yeah.
it's not a failure. It's an opportunity to learn and grow. Each moment is a fresh start.
I love that perspective.
Yeah.
It's about progress, not perfection. What else can we do to keep these teachings alive in our daily lives?
Cultivating gratitude is another powerful practice. When we focus on the good in our lives, it shifts our perspective away from lack and scarcity towards abundance and appreciation.
Right.
It helps us loosen the grip of desire and greed and to appreciate the simple joys of existence.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
When we're feeling grateful, it's hard to feel resentful or envious at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like those emotions can't coexist.
Exactly. And gratitude can be as simple as taking a few moments each day to appreciate the beauty of nature, the kindness of a stranger, or the love of our family and friends.
Yeah.
It's about noticing and appreciating the blessings in our lives, no matter how small they may seem.
It sounds like we have a lot of tools at our disposal. We have jhana, vairagya, meditation, self-inquiry, mindfulness, and gratitude.
Right.
What a powerful toolkit for navigating life's challenges and uncovering our true nature.
It is. And the beauty is that these tools are always available to us. We can access them anytime, anywhere.
I think that's a wonderful note to end on. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Bhaja Govindam, I invite you to consider this. What if the key to true happiness and fulfillment lies not in external achievements, but in unlocking the knowledge of your true self?
It's a question worth pondering, and who knows, the answers you discover might just change your life.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the mysteries of life.